presidential debate tonight. So we'll be out of here in plenty of time for you to get to that. We're going to have the school board candidates from District 1 to present for us initially. And they'll present for about 30, 45 minutes or so. We'll have questions that we will ask, and we'll give you the opportunity to ask questions as well. And then we'll move and segue into a discussion about the amendments on the ballot. And I'm very happy to have the League of Women's Voters who will be here to give us the non-partial view, the pros and the cons of all of the amendments. And then we'll get you out of here no later than 8 o'clock. It may be even be earlier than that, okay? So let me begin by just recognizing some of our elected officials and candidates that are running. So we have Mr. Mergio here and Christine Jacks. Thank you for coming out. We really appreciate that. And then we have Mary Jane, is that right, from the League of Women's Voters, who's here. And I'd like to recognize my board members, if you would just raise your hand. Okay, so these are the board members for the Black Village Voice Political Action Committee. And we're partnering with the Coalition for Black Student Achievement. And Latanzia will stand up and just give a brief synopsis or overview of who they are and what they're about. I'll begin by telling you about the Black Village Voice Political Action Committee. We are a nonpartisan PAC that seeks to bring about or promote economic development within black communities. We engage local officials about issues in the disadvantaged communities, and with that we try to hold them accountable. We understand that two things. One, that if you're not at the table, then a lot of times you're on the menu. And so what we do is we seek to be at the table. We want to engage at every level with all of the municipalities, with the city of West Palm Beach, the Palm Beach County, with the school district. We want to engage with businesses to do whatever we can to promote economic development and black business growth. And then finally, we want to make sure that we're holding our elected officials accountable for promoting growth as well, and for dealing with some of the disparities that currently exist throughout our communities. We are excited to have the school board candidates out tonight. We understand that education is the bedrock for economic development and growth, and so it's critical that we address the issues in our education system and show you how where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. And so I'll pause now to give Latanzia an opportunity to stand up and talk to you about the Coalition for Black Student Achievement, and then we'll segue into our debate. We'll introduce the moderators. All right.
Good evening, and I'll make this very brief because I know everybody wants to get home to see the presidential debate. But the Coalition for Black Student Achievement is an organization that is made up of elected officials, different community organizations, current teachers, retired teachers, and retired administrators within the public school system. And what we do is we advocate on behalf of African American children, making sure, and I'm just going to piggyback off of something that James said, making sure that they're at the table and not on the menu, making sure, working alongside the school district, holding them accountable also for policies and procedures, and also curriculum that may have a negative impact on African American children, and making sure that they are inclusive, all inclusive. And that's the Coalition for Black Student Achievement.
Thank you, Latanzia. And so that tells you a little bit about the organization, and Latanzia is doing a great job of moving their agenda along. We appreciate this partnership and look forward to many partnerships in the future. So she'll be one of our moderators tonight. They'll be asking questions related to the education system and issues that they're addressing and dealing with. And then we have Shalonda Warren, who's on the board for the Black Village Voice, that will be presenting questions related to economic development and some of the issues there. So thank you again, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Shalonda will begin with the rules. And again, so this session should last about 30 or 45 minutes, and you guys will have an opportunity to ask questions. So I'll have some cue cards available for you momentarily. Thank you.
James stated, the cue cards, you will have an opportunity to fill those out, and then you'll pass those forward to us, and then we'll ask the questions for you. The panel, you will have an opportunity to answer questions after they're asked, and you have 1 minute to respond to each question, and there may be a follow-up question, at which time you'll have 30 seconds to respond. Okay? There will be a timekeeper letting you know. Our timekeeper is beautiful Tanya in the back, and when you come to 30 seconds remaining, or with 30 or 15-minute warning, 15 second. You have a 15-second warning to know that it will be time to wrap up your question or your answer. Are there any other questions before we begin? Thank you very much. Ms. Hanson.
All right, the first question that I have,
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Thank you. We would like you to introduce yourselves. You will have an opportunity to let everyone know who you are, what your name is. And so we'll have opening statements, then we'll ask the questions, and we'll conclude with the closing statements, okay?
How long for the opening
1
statement?
minute as well. And we'd like to start with you, please, Ms.
Okay. I'm Christine Jacks. I'm a former Commissioner of Education for the state of Minnesota. I'm an Associate Dean in a College of Education with a PhD in Education Policy, founded a school for homeless children. My husband and I have 7 children altogether, ages 10 through 29. So I come to this candidacy with a variety of experience and perhaps more importantly, a passion to make a difference in education. I think that passion may be more clearly seen when I founded the School for Homeless Children. I was hired to take over an after-school program and saw the kids were not getting the education that they deserved. So I started a school and made sure that they had everything that they needed to have. And as Commissioner of Education, I did not let anything go into the governor's budget in education, which was 45% of the budget, or $8 billion, unless it addressed either the education gap, children who didn't speak English, or children with special needs. I made sure that in my administration that we were looking at economic, educational disparities, and that we were doing everything we could to close any of those gaps. Christine Jacks.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Hi, I'm Mike Bergio. I've been a resident for 40 years in Palm Beach County. I worked with the school district for 33 years. I've been retired for 7. All of my children went through Palm Beach County schools. My grandchild is currently enrolled in Palm Beach County schools. I was a teacher, an assistant principal, and a principal, as well as working at the district office. So I really have a good handle on the district and the issues that we face. We're a very diverse community, and that local knowledge, I think, is important. I was principal at, name a few schools, Lake Park Elementary, Jerry Thomas Elementary, West Riviera Elementary, and Inlet Grove High School. So I do have a broad experience. Besides my educational experience, I also have business experience, and I think that's an important mix to bring to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
the first question that I would like to ask is, if you are an elected school board member, what can you or will you do to address the 36%?
Well, I think that one of the things that we have to pay attention, what we have to do is juggle the combination of making sure that you are looking at all children, but when you talk about looking at all children, that you're making sure you're looking at individual children. Sometimes we get very concerned with groups of children that we forget they're individuals, and I think the perfect example of that is that outrageous idea that the state came up with about the different goals and having different goals by race. What did that, I mean, aside from being offensive on its face because it was lowering goals and not having the goal be the highest, 100%, it was missing individuals. It was assuming the groups of people could be lumped together, and we have to move away from that. I was a researcher with the Institute on Race and Poverty and worked very closely with civil rights attorney John A. Powell, and that was what we were dedicated to. And so I bring that experience of, I'm sorry, I forgot we had a time. So I bring that experience and that knowledge.
I think one of the things that are very important is we need to realize that different communities need different things. For instance, when I was at Jerry Thomas Elementary, the needs there were a lot different than when I was at West Riviera Elementary. And I think as a school board, we need to realize that we need to put the resources to meet the needs of the community. So that's one thing that I think is extremely important. And I also agree, we need to look at each individual child as an individual, not as a group, because we need to meet individual needs to help children achieve at the level that they can. So we can never forget the individual child. So that's what I believe will be a benefit to the children.
Thank you. Mr. Mercio, how do you see the financial impact of early education, pre-K, affecting services and long-term outcomes for students?